Hello, welcome to the Creative Obsession podcast. My name is Carrie and I am coming to you from just outside of Portland, Oregon. Today is Thursday, October 26th, 2017, but I will probably get this updated or uploaded tomorrow on the 27th because it's late in the afternoon. I needed to get a bunch of stuff done this morning, and so I'm recording late in the afternoon, which feels really different. I've done it before and it just kind of throws me off a little bit. So hopefully I can adjust and just roll with it. It is absolutely gorgeous out today. I've got the windows open, so hopefully it doesn't get too noisy. It's sunny. It's about 70, 75. I don't know. It's quite warm, and it's just been wonderful. We have had a really lovely fall, really lovely fall. I have been posting some pictures on Instagram, so if you follow me, you've seen my tree pictures, and it's like I can't help it. I just go somewhere and you turn a corner or you walk down the street and you're just like, oh, it's just so pretty. And so I feel like everybody needs to see that. So if you follow me on Instagram, you've probably seen some of the pictures that I posted in the beginning. It's just been so nice, so nice. So anyway, you can find me on Instagram and on Ravelry. There is a Ravelry group for the podcast. I will put those links in the description box down below, as well as any links to any patterns or websites that I talk about. So you can find it easier. So hopefully the lighting's okay. It's weird because it's really sunny and I usually record at a different time of day. So hopefully it looks all right. Anyway, let's get started with the podcast. I like to start with if I have a quilt, to talk about the quilt that's on the wall. That was part of the reason why I didn't get started with this till this afternoon, because I needed to finish quilting this, and I finished it this morning. This is a quilt for the Mama Made It Quilt Shop. I have talked about them before. My friend Jenny owns the shop, and I long arm quilt her quilts for her shop, for like shop samples and stuff. So this is a quilt that will be available on her website or in the store. I mean, not this quilt, but like patterns and kits. You can get them on the website or in the store, and I will put links to that down below. I thought it was a beautiful quilt. I love the simplicity of the blue and the white, and when she first showed it to me, I instantly knew I needed to quilt feathered wreaths on it, and so that's what I did. So you've got the blue block, and then you have just a plain, I'll call it white, it's off-white, but a plain block, and in that I quilted a feathered wreath, and then in the pieced blue blocks, there's a smaller feathered wreath in the center, and then some other design work around on the edges of that. So I went ahead and I filmed myself in different stages of quilting it along the way. I mean, I've had this on my machine for about a week because I had a bunch of dyeing stuff to do. So it'd be like dye a bunch of stuff in the morning, and that stuff, while that's cooling, I'd come up here and I'd get some quilting done, and then, oh, it's time to rinse the yarn and go down. I had a really busy week last week. Not complaining. It was just really busy. So it took me a while to get this finished. But I'm really happy with the way it turned out. I know that Jenny's going to love it. Somebody else pieced it, Kathy, somebody, and it will be her quilt once it's done being a sample in the shop. So I'm going to insert here some of that footage that I took from when I was quilting and stuff, and I will put a timestamp of where you can jump to if you're not interested in that and you want to just skip to like knitting stuff. So I'm going to throw that in here, and I will see you back here in a moment. What I'm going to show you is how I go about quilting a feathered wreath. I don't know if you can see on this block here, this is an unpieced block, just a piece of fabric, and I'm going to quilt a feathered wreath in it. So how I start is I use a air erase pen. These pens just evaporate. It writes with a purple color, and it just vanishes over time. So what I do is take my ruler and I mark from corner to corner, and that gives me the center of my block. I've already marked this. I'm sure you probably can't see it on the camera, but that's okay. And then what I want to do is I'm going to make the feathered wreath in here, but I don't want to go completely to the center. So I use a circle template, mark the center that I will leave unquilted, and then I take a bigger template, and this is the maximum size that I'm going to make my feathers, and so I mark that as a guideline. And so then what I do once that's all been marked is I will put my needle down in the center, and then I'm going to use a grooved board to make the circle, and I'll take you to the back of the machine to show you how that works. Okay, so now we're at the back of the machine, and what I'm going to use here, this is a grooved board. It's actually got these grooves etched into this, I think it's wood, and I use this stylus. So this has a little tip on it which goes into the groove and doesn't move. So this is the little holder. I've just got a piece of hair elastic or whatever you make your ponytails with to help hold this up out of the grooves until I'm ready. So I had just put in the needle in the center of my block, and so now what I'm going to do is let that drop until I can find, and it falls into the center. So now I know that this board is centered to my block. So then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lift it up so I can move it. I'm going to lift my needle, and then I'm going to go to the size of circle that I want to make, and I will stitch carefully, and this stylus keeps the machine in track with that circle. So let me do that. I'm going to go to the front of the machine, but I'm going to let you watch from the back. And those lines will disappear in a little while, and you won't even know that I marked it. And so that's how it's done. I'm going to continue doing that until I get all those blocks quilted, and then I'll move on to the pieced blocks. I hope you enjoyed watching that. I hope that it all kind of showed you what it was that I did and how I approached it. This is considered a custom quilt job. Like when I used to do long arm quilting for a job, this would be custom because I'm using specific tools and designs for the specific piecing. I'm not just quilting over across the top of it like you would with pantograph. So it's more labor intensive. It's fun for me. It's hard. It's harder on my body, which is why I don't do it anymore as a job. because this is the kind of quilting I would do every single day, and it starts to hurt your neck, and it starts to tweak my shoulder, and my knees get sore because I'm standing all day, and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that, but I'm going to move on now into some of my knitting stuff. I have a fabulous finished object. I'm super proud of it. I'm really happy. I was going to wear it, but it's really warm up here. It's like 75 or 78. What is it? 75 in here. It's warm. But I finished my So Faded sweater. Here it is. And you know what? It fits. It fits me. I'm so happy about that. That was something I was really kind of worried about. I'm not, like I said, I won't put it on, but I'm planning on wearing this, hopefully if it's cool enough, when we go to Vogue Knitting Live. I'm just really hoping it's not pouring down rain because we're going to be walking some, but I'm planning on wearing it there. I love the fact that I made elbow length sleeves. Love that, because I'm always hiking my sleeves up anyway. Partly because I'm not a tall person. I'm a little short and squatty. And so I have shorter arms, and so sleeves generally are too long, and so I'm constantly hiking them up. Plus, when your sleeves are on and you go to grab something, you knock shit over, and yeah, it's not good. So, love the elbow length sleeves. I'm really happy with how it fits. I'm happy with the colors. So this top color was a color that I dyed to go with the other colors, which were from Black Sheep yarn. And this was Tea Time, I believe, and Lavender. And I wanted another color to go with it. I got those yarns for my birthday from Michelle, Leslie, and Angelique. And so yeah, made a sweater. It's all on sparkle base, so it's a little bit twinkly. And yeah, I don't know what else to say. I didn't make any modifications. Not on purpose. Maybe on accident because I didn't know what I was doing. But this is my first sweater. I never thought I would knit a sweater because for one, I never thought of a fingering weight sweater. So when I think of sweaters, I think of like thick, bulky sweaters, which I just don't wear. I don't know how many fingering weight sweaters I'll make. I like the weight of them, but they really take a long time to make. And I do know that this fits, so that's good. I could always make this again, and I don't even have to fade it. I can just use the pattern and the stitch count and all that stuff to just make a sweater that fits me. But fingering weight just takes a really long time. So I really had to make myself finish it because I want to start another sweater. Can you believe this? I mean, I remember saying when I first started making this podcast, like, oh, I'm not going to ever knit a sweater. Now I'm looking for my next sweater. But anyways, I'm really happy with it. I really like the way it turned out. This striping in here, which I thought was really interesting, was just the way the yarn striped, which is totally cool. But, you know, it's so interesting because if I made socks, it probably would have looked completely different, and just because of how it knitted up. Knitted like it's striped. But it adds some neat interest to it. So anyway, you may see me in my lavender sweater all the time. But really happy with how that turned out. So, yeah, very proud of it. That's the only thing I finished. I almost finished, and I was working on it this morning, but I really needed to get to work and get the quilt done and stuff. But I'm almost done. Just got like a couple more rows, and then I start Kitchener-ing my toe. So these are my, this is about as neutral as I own. I don't own typical neutral. This would be a neutral for me. So it's out of my sock blank. Look how different that looks. So that's out of that sock blank. Just vanilla sock. Talked about it last time. Blah, blah, blah. Same old thing. I did make a little more progress on throwing bags around. A little more progress on my co-pilot cowl that I am making for my friend for her birthday. As a refresher, this is Destination Yarn in the Grand Prismatic color, and it's dyed based off of the Grand Prismatic Spring Pool, something that we saw in Yellowstone. So this was only available in a shop in Yellowstone, and I bought it when I was there. I went to get some for me, and she said, if I buy some, would you knit me something? Because I don't knit. So, of course, I said, sure. So I'm going to give it to her for her birthday. But it's coming along nicely. So I think I'm done. I think I go into the next garter ridge now. I may have a knit row first, but go into the garter ridge. Then I'll do another section of this lace and another garter ridge, and I'll be done. So this has been really nice, easy, like TV knit kind of stuff. Like I had talked about before, I'm adding this kind of limey green to it to give myself more yardage, because I want to make sure that I have enough. The modification I am making in this is in this lace section. It calls for 9 repeats of the lace, and I'm just doing 8, which will be fine. You won't notice it. So free pattern on Rev. I'll have it done next time I talk to you. Not much to say about that. I know this is kind of boring because I don't have anything really new, except I went on a little excursion thing with Michelle and her family. She had gotten tickets to go on an excursion train that went from Hood River into Parkdale, Oregon. And in Parkdale, there's a lot of pear trees and apple trees. It's known for, it's like most of the pears, I think, in the United States are grown there. And it's just beautiful. So it was just this little excursion train. You kind of go through the mountains, and then you end up in Parkdale. You have a little lunch, and then come back home. So she had a couple extra tickets. Jim and I went with her and her family, and I thought, oh, well, I'm going to need something to knit on the train. And I would have taken the socks, but I was at the heel, and I didn't want to mess with that. I knew I wasn't going to be concentrating. So I decided to cast on something new. So when my niece Ella was here, and she was looking at my yarn and stuff, she eyeballed this skein of yarn. So this is my Wake Me Up Before You Go. And she saw that, she's like, oh, it's like neon, and it's got sparklies. And so I asked her, I'm like, would you wear like a slouchy hat or something? She said, yeah, I would. So I'm going to knit, I am knitting the sock head hat. So I've gotten this far in the brim, and I love how it's kind of doing sort of a spiral effect around, the brim, and then I know it'll change once I get into just doing stockinette. So Jim was really sweet, and because I've talked about it before, that he has to try the hats on for me because I have too big of a head, and he has a little head. And so he was really sweet while we were on the train. He let me try it on him. So I think it'll fit her just fine. I saw her yesterday, and I was asking her about, she was the one that I made the bobble hat for, and I said, oh, you probably don't even wear it. She goes, I did wear it. I just don't wear hats. Don't you really like to wear hats? And I'm like, oh, crap. You did say you liked a slouchy hat, right? She goes, oh, yeah, sure. So I'm going to knit it. I don't know whether she'll wear it or not. She won't wear the socks if I knit her socks, and so she's going to get a slouchy hat with neon colors and sparkles. So that's that. That's a really easy knit because it's just ribbing. It says to go ribbing for 4 inches, but I'm going to do ribbing for 3, I think. And then it's just stockinette till it gets to whatever length and becomes a slouchy hat. So that's what she's going to get. And then I also talked about last time about a new cast on that I was waiting to do. I was waiting to get my So Faded sweater done first. Made myself do that before I started a new one. And so I want to show you kind of what I've got, what I'm thinking. Okay, so something new that I got is this gorgeous bag. I don't know if you guys saw these. This is a bag from Bags by Awesome Granny. I had this fabric. This was fabric from me. I had this fabric. I bought it years ago because I just absolutely loved it. And I bought quite a few yards of it because I was going to do, I forget what I was even going to do with it. And I just couldn't cut it up. I just thought it was just so pretty. I couldn't cut it up. And so I've hung on to it. Well, now, since then, it's like, I don't, my tastes have changed. I don't make quilts like that. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. but it was just still so pretty. And so I contacted Darlene and I'm like, could you use this? Do you think you could make bags out of it? It's just such a pretty fabric. So she bought it from me and then made these gorgeous bags. And so I bought one because I had to, because she named them the carry bag because it's fabric for me. But oh my God, so pretty. So I was so excited because now I'll actually like get to see the fabric that I just loved so much. It's just so pretty. So anyway, I already know what's going to go in here. So I started to swatch for the Comfort Fade sweater. Comfort's Fade cardigan that Andrea Mowry just put out. It's a DK weight sweater. I was wanting to make a DK weight sweater and she just happened to come out with this right at the time I was looking for sweaters. So what I decided to do is I'm going to use, this is Fire in the Sky. This is my yarn from my shop and I'm just going to use this color. I'm not going to do a fade. Kind of over the whole fade thing. I feel like it's being a little overdone. It's just my personal opinion, but I like the style of the sweater. So I did my swatch, which I think is just going to look gorgeous. And I had asked the question if about if it's like stockinette or garter or whatever, like how is it stretch-wise? And somebody tuned me into the fact that it's reverse stockinette, which I didn't even look. I just bought the pattern and assumed it was garter. Anyway, so it's going to be in stockinette, which is what the swatch is that I swatched for. I had to go down a needle size to get gauge, and I got gauge with a size 5. 4, 5, 5. But this is going to, like this side is going to be what the sweater is going to look like on the outside. But I think I like this, the front, what I would consider the front side. I don't want it to look like I'm wearing my sweater inside out. So I haven't printed off the pattern. I do have it in my library. But is it possible or is it too confusing? Now, take in consideration I've made one sweater. But can I just not do it? Can I just kind of do it backwards so that it looks front ways to me? Is that going to be too confusing or do I just follow that or find another pattern? I don't know. I don't know what to do. Because I want it to look like that. I like that better than the back side. I just do. So this will be a great sweater. I will wear this because it will go with like anything that I wear. If I can't easily kind of reverse the directions, then I'll find a different sweater. I was even thinking of doing one of Amy Herzog's sweater, the custom fit sweaters, and just seeing if maybe I can make a sweater off of one of those and make it fit me. So that was another question. So can I flip this? Another question is, do I just go by the same measurements? Like my So Faded sweater fits me. Do I just make the same size in a cardigan? Because a cardigan doesn't, it's not the same. But do you still make it the same? I don't know. This gets so confusing. So if you know, let me know. I'll ask Michelle and Leslie. I'll ask Leslie because Leslie's made a lot of sweaters. So I know to make the right size. So now that I have my swatch, no matter what sweater I make out of DK weight yarn, I started with the 6, which is what it called for, and I counted, and for some reason I was thinking I needed to go up a needle size, so I knitted with a 7, and it was like, oh no, I went the wrong way, so I knitted with the 5. So now I have a swatch for all 3 sizes. I am going to unravel this and use it, but I'm going to write it down somewhere where I won't lose it. And know that in DK weight yarn, that's how my stitch count comes out. So anyway, I will still have to dye up a bunch of that. I'm going to get the sock head hat done for Ella first. Get the cowl done. That's going to be done shortly because I'm really close on that. And then I'm going to make the hat that's the fornicating deer. Have you seen that? I think they call it frolicking deer or something, for my son-in-law. I didn't get to call him my son-in-law. I just think that's awesome. Anyway, I had asked him before. I'd shown him last Christmas when we were at the beach, and I said, "Oh, look at this. Would you ever wear this hat?" And he goes, "Oh yeah, totally." And I said, "Okay, I'll knit you that hat." So I think I'm going to make it for him for Christmas. So I need to get that done before I can start my own sweater. I need to do that gift knitting, and then I don't think that there's any more gift knitting involved. But what happens is, like mid-November, I'll all of a sudden get an idea. Oh, I can make everybody whatever. And then I'm frantic. So I'm trying not to do that just because I don't want to do that. I want to get the few things that I know will be appreciated, and then I will start knitting on my own sweater. I don't know. I need help with the whole sweater thing. So anyway, one of the things that kept me really busy, and I'm sorry I don't have anything to show you, but I wanted to thank everybody that participated. Since the last time I recorded, I dyed up a skein, a colorway called Come Together, and I dyed that up, and 25% of the proceeds of that skein, of that colorway, went to help with fire relief in Northern California. As you know, Northern California has just had horrific fires, just very, very devastating fires. I mean, this has been a really rough year between the hurricanes that have really destroyed areas and then this huge fire situation in Northern California. I felt like I wanted to do what I could. And through the sales of that, I had that open for a week, I think. I was able to donate $160. I know it doesn't sound like a lot. It's not thousands of dollars, but it's something. And I want to thank you all that bought some of the yarn from me. I do really appreciate it. It's a really pretty colorway, and I do plan on dyeing up some more. In fact, I have some downstairs that's cooling. So I can't show you because I can't touch it right now. It's too hot. But I will have some, and I'll show that to you the next time. But I do want to thank everybody that helped and participated in that and helped make a donation, because I do believe if everybody kind of did their anything, it all adds up, and it helps. And I think it's hard when there's been so many devastating natural disasters that people get kind of tired of giving, and you're like, gosh, it's another thing that somebody's asking for money or whatever. And it depends too on what the media is focusing on. And so I know around here they haven't talked about it too much anymore, and I know that it's still an issue. So I will put the link to where I made the donation that helps to distribute to any of the counties that were affected, and it just helps. It helps with all of the recovery effort that is happening. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for helping me achieve that. I really feel good about it. It's, it's what we could do together. We came together. So I have to let you guys in on a little secret. It's not really a secret, but I just bought a knitting machine on eBay. I don't have it yet because the auction just ended today. I've been wanting one for quite a while. I used to have one years ago. I had one of those plastic bond ultimate sweater machine, and I bought it when that was pretty new in the 90s, and I made stuff with it. I made sweaters. I made those awesome peach colored acrylic sweater, but I made sweaters for myself, for my boys. I made little hats. I mean, I made a lot of stuff with it, and it worked fine for me. And I had it, I still had it, but when we moved into this house and we really kind of went through, it's when you move, you just like go through all your crap. And I'm like, I haven't touched this in a long time. I don't know where I'm going to be able to put it. So I gave it to Goodwill or something. And I've kind of always regretted it, because it's one of those tools where it's like, you might not use it all the time, but I would feel like I would use it now. So I thought, you know what? I'm just going to look and see what I can find. So I did find a hobby style knitting machine, and it's a Brother knitting machine. So it should be a little bit nicer than the Bond. I didn't have troubles with the Bond machines, but I do know that people had issues with them and found them to be difficult to use. the one I had worked fine for me. But then I thought, well, if they were that hard, maybe I just happened to get a good one. So I upgraded just a little bit. So hopefully by the next time I record, I will have my new knitting machine. It's just a toy. I know it's a toy, but I got a good deal on it, and I kind of think I might try and knit sweaters on it again, because it knits things way faster than I can with my little fingers. So anyway, I don't know what's going to happen with it, but I'm really kind of excited because it's something that I've had my eye on for quite a while. So hopefully that'll be something I can share with you next time, because why not, you know? So on Saturday, in a couple of days, or well, from when you're seeing this, it's tomorrow, I'm going to go to the Columbia River Gorge Fiber Festival. And I'm going to go with Leslie and Angelique, and I know that Michelle and Lori are going to already be there because they're taking some classes. So I'm excited, looking forward to seeing what that is and doing that. And then the following weekend is Vogue Knitting Live in Seattle. When I was with Michelle this past weekend, we kind of talked about like how we should do some sort of a thing where we can like meet people or something, you know, and we just couldn't come up with anything. So right now there's nothing official, but if you do see us, please come up to us. At least come up to me. I know Michelle and Leslie wouldn't mind you guys coming up. I mean, that's the whole point is to meet each other and stuff. So yeah, that we're going to be there. We'll get in, taking the train on Friday, get in Friday, like late afternoon, and then we'll be at the show all day Saturday. And then we'll head home on Sunday. So we won't be at the show Sunday. We're just going to be there Saturday. I don't know if there's something Friday night. I don't know. Maybe we'll go Friday night. I'm not really sure. But for sure Saturday. So, yeah, please come up and say hi and introduce yourself, because we don't know what you look like unless we've already met you. So please come up and say hi. So yeah, that'll be exciting to share that all with you too, because I don't know what that's going to be like. I think it's a pretty big deal, a pretty big show. So I'm hoping that it's good. I'm taking a class, and I'm going to a lecture. So the class I'm taking, and this may sound ridiculous, but the class I'm taking is to learn to continental knit, because I've tried a lot of different times, and it's so slow and awkward. And I know that once, you know, it's just because it's different. The thing is I know I can get gauge with my English style knitting. So continental knitting is like, it's going to change my gauge, and I can do it and knit that way, but the purling is like really awkward. And so anyway, I'm hoping that this class will just kind of help clarify that stuff, to see whether it's a way that I want to switch and change my style of knitting. I don't know, but I'm open, you know. I do want to mention a podcast. It was a new podcast to me that I really enjoyed. Don't know how I found her, but Allison has For Knit's Sake. I don't think I mentioned her last time. She's a prolific knitter and has a very enjoyable presence, and I really enjoy watching her. So go check her out, and you might like it. I know right now everybody's going to be putting up all their Rhinebeck footage, because Rhinebeck was just last weekend. I really want to go, because even if I don't even go and like look at yarn, just to go to be with the people, with all the people, it just looks like so much fun, and I really feel like I'm missing out on something. It's a huge trip from the West Coast. It's an expensive flight, and then staying there, and I'd have to figure out if I could stay with somebody, and I don't know. I would love to go. Not taking it off the table completely, but it's a someday thing. I also want to go to Knit City. So Knit City just happened the end of September, and it's up in Canada, in Vancouver, BC. So way easier for me to get to. I could drive. It's about a 7-hour drive, or I can take the train. The train goes all the way up there, and then I wouldn't have to worry about driving, and I can knit on my way up there. That would be a much more doable show to do that because Vogue Knitting isn't always in Seattle, so that's kind of like we got to go to that when it's here. I don't know. It's just so hard. Everybody looked like they were having so much fun, and I love seeing everybody's pictures and footage, and it just makes me feel like I want to be there and be having all that fun with everybody. So hopefully you've recovered if you were at Rhinebeck, because I'm sure that's very draining, and you kind of have a Rhinebeck hangover. So anyway, that's all I have for today. Thank you so much for joining me. And I look forward to seeing any of you that will be at the upcoming shows that I'll be at. Hopefully somebody will be there. And then I'll share with you all my new stuff. So next episode, I should have a lot of new stuff. So thank you so much to everybody for all of it, for participating in the Fire Relief Fund, and for just being here and watching. I really appreciate you all being here. So hopefully you are having some lovely weather. Have a happy Halloween and be safe. And I will see you next time.